This is the Dave Elliott Show.
And a very good Wednesday morning to you. Thank you for joining us today. We've got another hot one in store for us today. I see we're looking for wind chills, if you want to go, I don't know what you call them. Feels like temperature. I guess we don't have a wind chill around here during the summertime, do we? But whatever we got, it's going to be toasty. About 106 degrees beginning at 11 o'clock, where there's a heat advisory in effect for this morning. And we can expect an air temperature of about 90 degrees, mix of clouds and sun, and winds out of the west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Tonight, a low, mind you, of 82 degrees. That'll give way to partly cloudy skies to cloudy skies overnight. And then there is a chance tomorrow of about 40% of morning thunderstorms. So that's that. I'd like to say good morning to our good buddy, Reg Buxton, the publisher of Life in Naples magazine and former Naples City Councilman. Hi, Reg. I'm not hearing you for some reason, and I'm not sure why that is. Let me see what I did wrong here, and if I can't fix it really quickly, I have another solution to the problem. There you are. Good morning, Reg.
Hi, David.
There we go. I have a connector on my phone that I have to hook up, and every once in a while I don't push the connector in all the way. And I think we've all been there, haven't we?
Yes, we've all pushed something and it didn't work. Yes.
One of the people who has pushed something that didn't work is the Naples mayor, Teresa Heitman, who is going to jail for a few weekends.
Yeah. Absolutely interesting. If you followed what was in the news, you knew nothing, you talked to nobody or anything like that, you would see that when the mayor showed up last week in court, that what everybody said is what she was there for was to ask to be able to leave the county on weekends.
Right.
She wanted to travel. Okay.
Right.
All right. But apparently the judge had another idea, because his idea was, I'm going to handle your next few weekends because you're going to be in jail.
So I guess that precludes traveling then, doesn't?
I would think so. Yes. Yeah. But there seems to have been a disconnect, whether it's between the news given out or what page everybody was on. You go in to say, well, I want to. What do I have to do so that on weekends I can travel outside the country? And what the judge, according, again, not being there, not asking anybody, if you just looked at news that came out, the judge says, well, here's the deal. You're going to have this, you're going to have that, and you're going to spend 10 days in jail, which you can do concurrently, or you can do it on weekends. And I'm thinking to myself, did anybody's lawyer talk to anybody? Did anybody talk to the lawyer? Did we have two different continents here going around, and then all of a sudden we got in front of the bench? So.
Well, I yesterday on the show, I suggested that it was time for her to step down or be fired. This has gone on long enough. It's an embarrassment to the community. It is.
Well, but I agree, David. However, it doesn't seem to be an embarrassment to the 6 people sitting up there with her on a dais.
Well, you would think somebody would step forward and make a statement, but we're not getting that. No,
so why should she step down then, in her mind?
I'm not saying that in her mind that isn't correct, but for the better, does anybody care about the reputation of the community? We're starting to look like Cape Coral here.
Well, apparently not. I don't. I'm in the city all the time. I lived there for 15 years. I don't hear anything from anybody saying, why didn't she step down?
Well,
David, you are 100%. What you're saying is 100% correct. And a logical person that didn't know names or anything, just due to situation, would say, well, yes, that person's incapable of ruling.
Well, apparently,
but I don't see, what the first time that this happened, I mean, it was, pretty good news around. All the pictures are chasing people down with and honking at them and sobriety test and do you know who I am and all that other kind of stuff. City council said not a word, not a word. Nobody suggested. Now, the only two ways that legally that she can go is the governor, and the governor can get her for breaking the sunshine, and the governor can take her, can put her away for taking money, and that goes for all elected officials. I happen to know that. I've been one off and on for 20 years here. So, but not one person even suggested in a meeting that she should be censored. What that means is you say, I think you should be censored for what you've done. You've disparaged me. You've disparaged the government. You've disparaged the city. You've disparaged this government that we're trying to run here. And I want it on record what you've done. Mm-hmm. Never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the community, whether you're interested in this or not, or somebody tells you about it over your golf game or pickleball game or something, you say, well, what's the council do about it? Council didn't do anything about it. Well, then why should I get involved? If the people that are close to her that have the authority to actually put something on record and they don't do anything, who am I to hold my hand up and say, hey, do something?
Well, I have a thought about the judge in this case. I think he did exactly the right thing. And the reason I say that is because if he lets her off or he says, maybe you weren't really violating your probation, then that just shows the double standard that would be at play because a normal citizen would not get that same kind of consideration.
I agree, David.
And I think he did the right thing. And apparently he isn't buying this idea that after she got busted for having THC show up in her system, and she went immediately afterward and had another test done that showed she didn't have THC in her system, he didn't seem to be buying that.
Well, I mean, if you have the correct counsel, that counsel has whatever he needs to get whatever answer he wants.
Yeah.
So, but and you got to remember, this was the third judge in this case.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the first two judges, the first. That's part of the reason, to my knowledge, sitting down and talking to a couple of people, is that the first judge that got it, when it came time to try, it appeared that they had a case that was going to run over, and all reasons that they could not take the trial on when it was it. So now you'd done all the startup work, all the presentation, all that. So then you went to the second judge to try to get on their caseload, and then something happened with them, and they said, I cannot have this trial because I got this, and this going on. So Crown is the third judge that she was in front of. This is what people tell me. I'm not a legal expert, nor do I run it. Actually, after the initial thing on this and shaking my head, I figured, yeah, okay. But finally we got what should have happened. What would have happened to normal citizen in the first time?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do what they. This isn't hearsay. It's proven. Was drunk, didn't pass the test, didn't do this, was honking people, chased somebody in their yard with a car. All those things happened.
And there's body cam video to back up some of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, duh. But I what should happen in this case, it just happened finally. Took 2.5, 3 years for it to happen. In February of 28, she's off the dais because she's termed out after 2 terms as mayor and cannot run for mayor again. Now she could turn around and run for city council if she wanted to, but she cannot be mayor anymore. So people are thinking, well, we're almost into 27. We're 5 months from 27. So we got about 16, 17 months of this, and then it'll be gone, and I don't have to do anything. Of course, the city looks like a house of buffoons.
Man, That's
do
where
that.
that's where it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it again, and I mean it. Mayor, step down. Do the right
Yep.
thing for the community, for yourself, for your family. Get the help you need, and step down and let somebody else take over that doesn't have the baggage that you're bringing to the city council.
And the person that would take, the normal procedure would be that the vice mayor would take over.
Well,
So you look at the vice mayor, is that who you want running the city? And I'm not making judgments here. I'm just, if you want this person gone, who's going to be the next person to take the job? Who is that? What do they do? What do they run on? What is their record? How do they handle things? What have they had to say about what the mayor's done? Have they ever said anything? Have they been mute? Which, when you're mute, usually means that you don't want to say anything or you don't care. So,
well, the news coverage on this has either been very sparing, or
yes,
people just aren't willing to talk. And if you're not willing to talk, if you're not willing to have an opinion about something this public and this embarrassing, then shame on you.
absolutely.
You are a public servant in theory,
Yeah,
and that means that you have to make your thoughts known to the people who voted for you
yeah,
and elected you.
yeah.
And if you're not interested in making public statements like this, then maybe we need to replace you with somebody else.
Yeah. Well, if that was the case, then I guess all 7 of them should go.
Well, there does seem to be a deafening silence coming from
Yeah.
the other 6.
Yeah, and I'm not disparaging the rest of.
No,
all
no.
I'm saying is, it's just it's not been handled well. I've been elected 3 different times to 3 different positions: city council, fire commissioner, mosquito commissioner, and happened to be the chair for the last couple of years there. People come up to you. I mean, when Senator Lee and I were living in the city for 15 years, you go out to dinner, and people would come by and say, "Hey, I don't want to bother you, but what do you think about this? Or how can we get this done?" Now that's part of your job. If you don't like that, don't run for office.
Right.
Because the public feels, rightfully so, that when they elect you, they have a right to talk to you. Then become their conduit when they want an answer. No.
Well, they're right. They're right.
They are right. And you look at them and you say, and most of the people, in the city, the activists or the people that care and stuff, after you've lived there a while, even before I got elected, you knew who was going to be there. You knew who were going to be the people who are going to come to you with ideas or thoughts or hey, what are you doing, and all that. You knew all those people, and that was fine, because if we let, at any level, national, state, city, HOA group, if we let people just govern without any input or listening to input of the people who elected them, whether it's the 100 votes you got to be elected to your HOA board or something like that, or the 2 million it takes to be governor or something. If you don't listen to those people, the whole system breaks down.
And you get what you deserve.
Right. So
it's so important. Voting is important. Making your voice heard is important in other ways, whether you show up at a city council meeting, a county commission meeting, a fire commissioners meeting, and those are all open to the public.
Absolutely.
And you should go, and maybe everybody ought to take a turn at sitting in a fire commissioner or mosquito control district meeting. You might think they'd be boring, and I have a feeling they're not totally boring.
No, they're not totally boring. No. In mosquito, we get people come in and say, it's great. We can, our kids can be outside. We get all this kind of stuff. And then the next person comes in and said, there aren't any more butterflies. You killed them all.
You butterfly murderer, you?
Yeah,
what the hell's wrong with you?
My parrot died and you sprayed on it. And that did it. Well, first of all, none of those things can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, can butterflies die? Can parrots die? Yeah. but the spraying doesn't do it. Okay, that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, you're going to get anything. So and then you get some people. Everybody gets 3 minutes. Okay, not 2:59, not 3:01. They get 3 minutes to speak. Okay.
Although I've heard people speak for 3 minutes that I wish only had 10 seconds.
Well, I'm not saying
to be honest with you.
Yeah, but in that 3 minutes, I've had people appear to me at all three of those levels that would appear every time we had a meeting and would say the same thing every time we had the meeting over a period of a year or two.
Yeah.
So you can't, but you're thinking to myself, Mr. X, I heard this for the last 12 months. I got it memorized. If you don't want to show up, if you want from the dais, I'll read what you want to say, because I got it memorized. But everybody has the right to. And hey, some places, maybe one of the places we're in war with right now, if you will go in the corner and say something against the government, all of a sudden the family, they can't find you anymore. So
there's
that's
that.
America, man.
Yeah. So here we sit on July 29th.
Okay.
At 7:17 a.m.
Yeah.
And the question that I have for you is, are we off to a good hurricane season start or what?
Yes.
We are very lucky thus far.
Absolutely. So far,
we've had two named storms. It's almost 2 full months into the season.
Yeah.
And things are looking mighty fine.
Yep. And everybody's talking 9 storms total instead of the normal 16. And all that's true, and it's all looking well.
What are the emergency preparedness people saying? Are they concerned that people might become complacent and not prepare, and you just say, well, that we're not going to have anything this year?
I don't think so, David. I can I'm a much lower level involved in that, but I get calls daily. What's going on, what's happening here. We got the county puts on a preparedness thing every August. They hand out kits and all that kind of stuff, and it's a learning process for a day and stuff like that. The people I talk to and the people at the Hurricane Center, obviously when you're involved in hurricanes and you see what they can do and you see the death and destruction and the horrible thing and the ruining, all that kind of stuff, you only got to see one once. You don't have to have a rerun to remember what happens. Okay. But no, I think we're doing a good job. A couple of the local Southwest Florida TV stations, when they do their weather report, they say, now we don't have anything. This is what's out here. There's nothing out here, And the first time I looked at it, I'm thinking, well, don't be a fearmonger. But then I'm looking at it. What they're basically saying to people is, right now, there's no bullets in the gun.
But that doesn't mean it can't reload.
No. But what they're saying is, they're not preaching the thing, well, boy, there could be a storm. They're saying, here's the here and now. There's nothing coming off the Horn of Africa. The Sarah Dust has done a pretty good job of messing stuff up in a good way. The El Nino is doing well. There's nothing in the Gulf. Obviously, the closer we get to September, October is when the Gulf starts saying, "Hey, it's my turn." Not that we don't get stuff out of the Atlantic, but the Gulf is and the thing with the Gulf is that when it's coming across the Atlantic and you can see something coming, and it's going to come. We're talking a week, 2 weeks before it gets here, and a lot of things can happen. Sure, can happen, not happen. It can change and all that. When something starts in the Gulf, it's going to be over in 5 days. It's either going to go away, or you're going to say, "Wow, that was not good." So those are the the two kind of scenarios that we have. I think people know what I do and everything. I get calls. What do you think? What should I? I said, well, have you done this, and this? Basic thing. Do you know what you're going to do when there's a storm? If you have to leave, how are you going to leave? And if you have to leave, you leave when somebody asks you to leave. Not, well, I'm going to wait a few hours because I got to watch my favorite TV show. Or what, do you have sufficient water and everything? Do you have all the stuff out of the yard? Do you have all the things that you should do anyways? Because it's really not something you want to do in a 2-3 day period. If they say they've done that, I said, then, don't worry about it, man.
I guess I keep forgetting that there are lots of newcomers to the area every year. And those of us who've been here for a little while are used to what we have to do around June 1st. Or actually, in my case, I will admit that I procrastinate and I generally wait until things start revving up before I start thinking about, bottled water and gasoline in the gas cans and, getting the generator out and doing all that stuff. I forget about that, but there are a lot of newcomers here, people who may have moved here from some state that doesn't have hurricanes, who need to know that you got to be prepared. It's really pretty simple.
Yeah. I mean, if you got a boat, are you going to take the boat out of the water? Are you going to double tie it? What do you have to do? How do you have to tie it if you're going to keep it there? Do you leave enough leeway, in your
bowline and your stern line.
all your lines, and how do you do that? So. But, the Coast Guard does a good job of trying to do that. There are different groups that try to have seminars and stuff. Long time ago, when I chaired the Red Cross, we used to have a group and go to, I want to say it was Lowe's that was across the county, was very open to, letting us put tables out on, on the weekend and stuff. And we'd have pamphlets, we'd hand out to people and say, these are the things you need to do and everything. And we got a lot of people that say, hurricane, wow, I heard they were here. I didn't know what they do,
Yeah.
Well, okay, now you know. And there's pretty good stuff on the different channels. You can go to YouTube and become an expert in 20 minutes on what to do.
It's not hard. Water for 3 to 5 days. Yep. Supplies that won't spoil in the heat, 3 to 5 days.
Yep.
Hopefully an evacuation plan if things come to that.
Yeah, and if you're on medications, make sure have a we used to call it when I was playing in deep stuff, we used to call it go to hell kits. Bag you're gonna grab,
yep.
Whether you're going to war or you're going whatever you got, everything's in there that you need.
I was just thinking about this. You and I both grew up in or near Flint, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have anything like hurricanes in Flint. I remember the Beecher tornado in the late 50s.
Yes.
That came through and did a lot of damage I think in Beecher and Burton Township. And we haven't seen any kind of severe weather there until recently. And my next guest, who will be on after you, was telling us last week when she was on with me about the flooding that happened in her community of Traverse City. For the first time ever, I think they had flooding up there because of the water levels.
You told me there's going to be a flood in Traverse City. I'm familiar. That used to officially, Peninsula used to go up there and get Cherry Festival. Probably gain 10 pounds every year going to the Cherry Festival.
Easy to do, man.
Yeah. But you telling me that Traverse City flooded? I think Noah had to be involved.
Well, this is in a low-lying area just to the south of town a little bit. But the Boardman River just had enough. And so we're going to overflow. Yeah. We've been very lucky. The only real flooding we've had here was from storm surge from Ian and Irma. But I think that is a bad sign of things to come.
The emergency management motto is hide from the wind, run from the water.
Yep.
In the discussion, very simple. If you got wind, you hide from it. You got water coming, run.
Hey, you have a new edition of Life in Naples coming out in the next few days.
Yeah, it'll be out, be in people's homes Friday and Saturday. It'll be mailed, and the ones will be on the street Monday.
All right.
So we're ready to go.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself.
You too. Reg Buxton, the former Naples City Councilman, current member of the Mosquito Control District, right here on the Dave Elliott Show. When we come back, we're joined by the aforementioned Kathy Dugan from the great state of Michigan after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about your hearing, and especially if you are experiencing hearing problems or you've noticed recently that your hearing just isn't as acute as it used to be. Well, the folks at Naples Audiology and Hearing Center can take care of that for you. My friend, audiologist and owner Christine Peacock, and her entire staff are dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And no, it's not the freshly baked chocolate chip cookies you'll find every day when you walk in, but it's your hearing. If you wear cochlear implants, they can help you with that. If you wear hearing aids, they can help you tune them up or get them repaired if they're under warranty, or if you need to be replacing them, they can help you with that too. At Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, they are the experts. They've been around a long time, and it's not this one-size-fits-all thing with them because everybody's hearing concerns are unique. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com, or call them at 239-434-2434 and tell them you heard about it on the Dave Elliott Show.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
He's always worn a mask to conceal his secret identity. Dave Elliott.
Thank you, sir, and it's a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday morning here. A typical Wednesday morning in Southwest Florida where anything can and will happen weather-wise. I don't suspect we're going to have a lot of surprises today with temperatures expected to reach about 90 degrees, wind chills somewhere. I say wind chills. I keep saying wind chills. Feels like temperature of 106. You can tell I'm thinking about Michigan, and when I think about Michigan, I think about my good friend Kathy Dugan up there in the cherry capital of the world at the north end of I-75. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
And nice to have you with us this morning. Did you enjoy our conversation with Reg?
I did.
You were asking why the mayor got put in jail, and I think you heard the answer. She was a couple of years ago there was a DUI, and then they alleged that they did a drug test on her and came up with THC, and then now she's got to do 5 weekends in jail. Yeah. It can happen. And it's funny that it should be a story here, because one of the things we're going to talk about is in the state of Michigan. You and I touched on this last week. Mm-hmm. But in the state of Michigan, it has been for a few years, legal to buy and smoke weed.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. Positive THC wouldn't be anything up here.
No. Well, it would be if you were driving, because you can still be, you can be impaired.
Yeah, but it stays in your body, Yeah.
Well,
for a
you're a
while. So it
pharmacist.
couldn't. It
You
doesn't mean that
probably
that was that way when you were driving. Could be
yeah.
from before.
So tell me about what it's like to be in a state where marijuana is legal. We have, of course, tried this in Florida in 2024. I believe it passed by 58% to whatever it was margin, but it needed 60% to pass. So it essentially failed. There was an attempt to put a legal weed referendum on the ballot this year, and it didn't qualify, so it won't be an issue until 2028. I'm not in favor of legalized marijuana. I think we have enough ways to be impaired without having another one. But what is it like in the state of Michigan?
We pretty much take it for granted that it's legal. I personally, I mean, there's pros and cons, but I think that the cons outweigh the pros. But yeah, it's just taking. It's a normal thing. People, people smoke pot, and it's funny. If you were to drink beer all day long, that wouldn't be a good thing. You wouldn't think that it would be, but people think nothing of getting high all day long, and now it's just commonplace. And I wonder what it's done for the production of our society. But you go to the grocery store, you smell it on people. It's supposed to be in private, but all the time at parks you smell it. You have to worry about your dog. I've had the people leave buds in the park, and I've had
The
some of my
dogs can pick them up and eat them. I never
they
thought
apparently
about
they
that.
like it, because I've had no more than one person whose dog ate it and got high, took him to the vet and found out it was marijuana. And
Wow.
so my dogs, if I'm out in the park with them, if they're paying attention to something, in the public, I'm like, okay, forget that. Let's get away from here, because I don't know. Could be like some little thing like that. But so there's a lot of that I, don't like.
You were
And
telling me that you went into a
yeah,
dispensary.
yeah, it's interesting. But let me be. So the other aspect of it, though, is people. It seems like everybody I know is using some type of CBD, which doesn't, not necessarily active THC in there, but they like the CBD creams, and and it helps, different things. And a lot of people use the gummies to sleep, just normal people. And and so anyway, I wanted to let me tell you first of all, this is I did years ago go into a place in Canada, and I just want to say for comparison. So in Canada, I went into a place and they had bags of pot, or behind under glass, and I'm like, what is it? What is this? And they're like, this one makes you happy. This one makes you relaxed, and then this one's in between. So I went. It's kind of like
This one,
okay, but even that was weird. But then
like the Three Bears, and this one's
I
just
know, I
right.
know, some young girl behind there recommending. But anyway, I don't know. I grew up in the '70s, and where a lot of people, tried pot, and they, and it was just like even one little joint or something was, oh my goodness, And so I, I went in. I do have a bad problem with neuropathy in my feet, and I wanted to, I did. I myself have tried used the CBD cream from the local health food store, but weren't having it, and it was expensive. So I thought, well, maybe the pot shop will have some, it might be even better price. So I went in there. It's just so surreal. You get in there, and it smells like pot. When you have to be in this little waiting room, they infuse the smell. It's just like,
Well,
oh,
if
I
you
don't want
can
to
go
come up.
back to the days when it was okay to smoke in restaurants and bars,
Cigarettes, yeah, yeah,
cigarettes, that's kind of what you remember how that used to smell. You'd walk out, it
oh,
would
I
be on your
know,
clothes and everything.
yeah,
And now
and
you got weed smell on your clothes and in your
yeah.
car and on your dog.
Right, well, and it's not, people aren't smoking in there, they're infusing it like incense. It's so like, and then you have to wait, then they have these big, heavy doors, the locked doors that you can't go in there first. You wait, and they come in, and they
You have an
scan your
escort.
driver's license, and all that. And one at a time, you go in, and they have somebody, waiting on you. They buzz you in there, and you the weirdest thing is you first walk in and they have all these like buds like displayed under glass, like a single bud. You know?
Really?
I so wanted to take a picture because it's just surreal after the way we grew up, to see that. And then anyway, then you go
Well,
in and they have. Huh?
you told me they escort you through the store, so you're not allowed to kind of like browse on your own.
Oh no, they buzz you in, and then that person's waiting for you, and you walk up, and then they have the buds under glass in the middle, the display, and then they have a whole bunch of glass with all these products, under in them and behind them, just thousands of
And
seems like thousands.
can you get like THC infused drinks and stuff like that too?
I don't probably drinks.
Brownies?
Maybe brownies, but a lot of it's gummies, and I'm sure bags of by the fact that they had those buds showing, they probably have bags of pot that you can buy and, all kinds of creams. And I mean, I don't even know everything that you can have. It's just tons of things. And then you just tell them, oh, I want some CBD cream. Well, do you want THC in it? No, 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 no. And so they'll say, give you the benefits and pros and the prices. And it's really
Is it
weird.
expensive, by the way?
Oh, it is. I mean, like, well, at the health food store, it was like $60 for a little tiny, thing, and it's not. I don't know. It's a little bit cheaper there, maybe, but it's very expensive, just for the cream. I didn't ask for the prices on the other things, but yeah. So you pay, and it's cash only. So these people are raking it in, but that you just feel like too, like when you go in. I hope nobody sees me going in there. You know what I mean?
Well, the
But
thing I don't get is if you can go into a liquor store and they don't follow you around when you're in a liquor store, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like a convenience store, what they call them, party stores is what they call them up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If marijuana is nothing more than alcohol that you smoke, which some people think it is, then why do they have to follow you around? Are they afraid you're going to steal the stuff, or what is the reason that they?
I'm not sure if it's. I just went to the one place. If it's that place's policy, but I think everything. It's a lot more regulated. Everything about marijuana is regulated here compared to like you can buy at the grocery store. You can buy beer at the gas station. You can buy beer. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But there's only certain places that you can buy it. The weird, like I said, you go in and they scan your driver's license before you even go in there.
Well, they want to
Before
make
you,
sure you're of age, I guess.
no, no, I don't. I think
You
they make
think
a
they're
record.
you think they're
Record. I
keeping
don't
track
know.
of you?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder. They don't just check it; they scan it.
Are
So
they? Do they require that you can only? Is there a maximum amount that you can buy in a certain period of time?
that I don't know. Could
Yeah.
be.
Are you allowed to grow your own there?
No, you have even the growing of it's very regulated and all of that. So I mean, it's in some sense it's for people. I know people who have use the gummies for sleep or whatever. That's nice, I guess, to have that option. But I don't think it's worth it really for all of as far you were talking about driving while impaired. People are that's all the time. They drive. I have this thing this little app called Crime Radar too, that where people, you get a little blurb of what the 911 people are, dispatchers are sending out to the cops, and on there you'll hear all the time, I saw somebody smoking pot when they were driving, like the cops are going to find that blue car where, that's driving down the road.
Well, do
But
they have a breath test or something they can give to people who drive
no,
high in Michigan?
no,
So
nope.
basically, if they pull you over, let's say for a broken taillight, and they go to the front window of the driver's side, and they smell what smells like weed, then they can take you out and do a sobriety test, I guess.
I'm not sure about that because I mean, technically, what if it was somebody else smoking it? And plus,
Well, if
I
you're
mean,
the only one in the car,
I've had
but
I had a friend, a friend who, well, a relative or whatever, that came up and they they smoked a lot of pot, and in the car they would go in the car and smoke, not where they're driving. They would just use it, so they weren't smoking it out in public or at the person's house that they were visiting. The
Mhm.
car smelled like really strongly of it, but they weren't smoking at that moment. So,
But you could theoretically you could inhale secondhand smoke left over. Right?
yeah, I'm laughing because I've been places where it's so strong. I'm wondering, am I getting high off this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. I don't know how bad that is. But I don't know. I really think it's hard to get somebody for being high while driving. I don't know, but I don't know that part very well.
Well, I
But
guess
I don't think it's tested very much. I don't think it's easily tested.
there aren't a lot of stories on the news up there about people who got busted for suspicion of driving under the influence of weed.
No, no. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
And I know it's happening because people are smoking all, like I said, all the time.
There is an internet phenomenon that you told me about, and I've done a little
Yes.
research on this. Two
Yep.
British guys, they look like millennials, named
hmm
Josh and Jace.
Yes.
Now, what is their deal?
Well, they're two influencers, as they say, and being older, like I am, I'm not a big follower of influencers, but these guys I love, and I swear everybody I know is following them. But so they what they do is they come to America. They have like 5 million followers. They come to
Wow.
America. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, they come to America and they visit places, and everyone follows where they're going. I had never heard of them, and they came to Michigan last February, and they came to Traverse City, and people were like, "Oh, Josh and Jace were downtown." Da, da, da." I'm like, "Who?" And so then I started looking into them, and I looked at, of course, then I saw things about them on Facebook. That's where I usually see them. They have other um, social media venues that they're on too. But anyway, and they're just adorable. They're so much fun that I'm following these guys too.
Among the things they do is they sample different kinds of food.
Mm-hmm.
Like they went to Detroit and they tried the Coney Islands.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
went to another place and had an olive burger.
Yes. Yep.
Now,
Well,
an olive burger, by the way, you were asking me, is that unique to Michigan? I've had olive burgers before, and I love them.
yeah.
I
I
know
hate
you're
olives.
not a big olive burger.
No, but a lot of people love them. There's hamburgers with olives in them. But
Did I hear that they were invited to practice with the Detroit Pistons?
yeah. So by the way, they were here in February, and I can tell you more about that. They were here in February. It was so fun. Went all the way through Michigan. It was freezing cold, snow, but they make everything look fun, and they have such a positive, joyful effect like children, and their expressions are a lot of fun. So, but and they listen to what the fans say, and everybody was like, "You've got to come back here in the summer. This is not the best time of year to be here." And so, about a month or two, they announced they were coming back, and we're like, "Way, yay!" Because man, we're honored. And twice in the same year they
How
came
do
back
they
here.
decide where to go?
They go by what the fans suggest, and so there are so many people, and I guess probably where they like to go, and so we're honored that they came back, and so yeah, so they decided to come back, and then the day before we're heading back to Michigan, and we're like, yeah, 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 where are they gonna go? So anyway, they went to Detroit first, and yes, the Detroit Pistons, our NBA team, invited them to practice with them. They're in their they're getting ready for the season, and yeah, these guys were out there playing with with them. Who gets invited to do that? That's how big these guys are.
Well, I'd never heard of them until you brought them to my attention, and now I want them to come to Naples
Yeah. Well,
and influence a little bit around here. We're rapidly becoming, I think we're on the verge of becoming a foodie town. And they would love it here with all the Italian restaurants we have and the Mediterranean style food. Pardon me, I have something in my throat.
yeah, I hear that. A frog. Well, we used to say a frog in the
A
throat.
frog in the throat. I don't know what it is. It just popped up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It happens from time to time, even to seasoned professionals.
Yeah. Right.
But we want them to come here. How do we get? Do I have to go follow them on Facebook and then make a recommendation?
Yeah, yep.
Well, maybe I'll
your
do that.
listeners to do it too. Look them up.
Yeah,
'cause they're
everybody
fun.
look up. It's Josh and Jace. Jace is spelled with an S.
Yeah,
I guess it
Yeah.
probably stands for Jason.
maybe.
Josh
Who
and
knows?
Jace, and
Who cares?
they're really hilarious.
Yes. And when they go to a restaurant, that it increases the price, it increases
Everybody
that.
wants to go to that restaurant.
Yeah, they
afterwards.
do.
So that's
And
why
and
they're called influencers.
yeah, and where they're gonna go next, you're always so in Michigan, they're putting little riddles out. We're gonna da da da, and everyone's so we're all
Oh,
going.
they don't always tell
Lansing.
you exactly where they're going to be. They do
No.
it in the form of
Yeah.
guess
So
what?
now they
Guess
like said
what?
something about who's in charge of the state. And we're like Lansing. So they went to Lansing, our state capital, and they were declared. There was Josh and Jace Day declared there.
Wow.
Yeah. Then they're now we know they're going to Grand Rapids because they're talked about the furniture capital. We're like, oh yeah, that's Grand Rapids, and I know they're going to make it to Traverse City, but I'm leaving town, but they'll probably be here. But
Oh, they're
so
coming back to the cherry capital, are they?
oh, I would have no doubt. Why wouldn't you? It's the paradise of Michigan.
Well, when you're when you're there in the wintertime, it's one thing. When you're there in the summertime, it's like a totally different place.
Oh, I know. And that's, they froze when they were like "Ah," freezing, when they were here in the winter. But then now, like they had a video, sweat. It was like 80. They're sweating to death. So because they're British, but it's funny.
probably cooler here right now than it is in England.
Yeah,
There's all
I
the
don't know.
fires and stuff going on in Europe
That's
and in
right.
England and
True.
everywhere else.
Yeah, I know. Last year when they were in Grand Rapids, they had a fundraiser for the homeless, and in just a short amount of time, they raised $40,000.
That's incredible.
I know. So, but they're fun.
So
And
I'm
even back in
curious.
England, they're fun.
They
Yeah.
obviously they must have sponsors, or they must make money by I mean, how do they make their living? Do you know?
Well, you get
How do they monetize
when you have
their
that many
influencing?
followers, you have sponsors. People are. I mean, well, it shows up ads on there. Sometimes when you can see little ads when you look at them on Facebook, but I don't, people pay. A friend I don't know, a friend of mine. I don't know how all of that works, but I do know like a friend of mine who is a photographer, and she has an Instagram account, and depending on how many followers, Instagram sends her money checks with like hundreds of, a couple $100.
Really?
Just just in that she doesn't have any ads. She just has her, she
Well, it's
just
better than a
has her pictures.
GoFundMe, I suppose. At least you're getting something in return for your money. You're getting some
Yeah, but she doesn't have
entertainment.
she doesn't have 5 million followers. She just has like, hundreds. So I can imagine them just saying I know that happens. So I'm sure it's with them. And like I said, they do have ads. I mean, and plus, I don't know. When they got here, they had these big box. Meyer is a local, like a local Walmart here. It's huge. And they had big boxes of things from Meyer that they were opening up, and the Meyer said they were sponsoring them and different ones. So I
Well,
guess they just get money.
it's a heck of a way to make a living, but it sure sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you have to be the right kind of person because wherever they go, people are coming up to them, oh, there's Josh and Jace, what I mean? And getting their photos with them. And they are very kind. They say they like doing that, So
Well,
have
you
to
got to
be.
like doing it because
Hmm.
it shows in the end product. And they put together these little videos. Each video is about a minute long and very fast paced and a little goofy. One of the videos that you sent me showed them making funny faces when they realized that while they were in Michigan, the cyclospora virus was happening, and they showed how they had eaten lettuce
I know.
at the Coney Island place the day before, and we're all freaking out about that.
I know. Yeah, we were watching, and myself included, we were watching, the video of them eating all that lettuce, and we're like, whoa, so.
One of the things that your area is known for, and we've talked about the cherry trees and the cherry business, is wine. Believe it or not, the region has climate similar to what you'd find in Italy, with, cool winters and warm summers and rich, fertile ground to grow the wine in, the grapes. Now, you don't grow wine. Does wine grow on trees up there?
Vines.
I don't think
It's
so.
just wine?
I think
Just, you mean
wine
grapes?
does. Can you go pick a bottle of wine off a wine tree?
Oh, no, yeah. No.
Just wondered. And some of the people who own the wineries up there are kind of famous. There's one in Sutton's Bay, which is near Traverse City, for example, the Ciccone Winery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that name may not be familiar to a lot of people, but it happens to be Madonna's parents.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
they have a winery up there, and I guess they get a lot of tourism. How big is the wine industry up in your neck of the woods?
Oh, it's just huge. And it started out a few years back. So I have a cousin who lives in California who likes to drink wine, and has, you know, loves the California wines. When we first started, we had a few wineries, and she went to them, and she's like, "Ew, nope," you know.
Yeah,
But
I've heard
then,
that.
yeah, but
And
then
I've had some bad Northwestern Michigan wine.
But that was at the beginning. Now she comes up, she loves it. And we just have wineries everywhere. A lot of the used to you drive down Old Mission Peninsula, one of the peninsulas of our big bay here. And like remember we said last week, but use the hand map, it's the little
Yeah,
finger of
little
Michigan.
finger, right.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, you used to drive, down and there were all these cherry trees everywhere. And every year they're disappearing and turning into grapevines more and more. But wine, that's the big thing. People go on wine tours. There's just a ton of those. You know, that is just a big thing. Or, you go to the grocery store
Well,
and
I'm
there's a whole
wondering,
section of Michigan wine,
you have a cherry festival, you have a comedy festival, or at least you used to.
Mhm.
You used to have a film festival
Yeah.
put on by Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, yeah.
And
When I have to just say, when that started, my mom's like, he's going to ruin Traverse City. But anyway.
well, I noticed that his movie theater Bijou by the Bay is kind of like
Yeah.
falling on hard times.
Yes.
But anyway, why not have a wine festival there?
Yeah, that's a good
An
question.
area-wide wine festival. If it's if you grow such great grapes and produce such great wine, it would seem to me like they would do that.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
we have one in Naples, and we don't even grow our own grapes here.
yeah, but personally, okay, so we got the legal marijuana. We do have all the people going up here and doing the wineries and all that. And we actually have a lot of local breweries now, and we have whiskey, people that make whiskey in there. That's all we need is to have a wine festival as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the one in Naples every year is the Naples Winter Wine Festival, and it usually raises anywhere from $25 to $30 million in a weekend to aid children's programs in Collier and Lee counties. I mean, this is a huge deal. I mean, major celebrities show up. They have big celebrity chefs that come here, and they fly into the airport in their private jets with satchels full of money. And they bid on stuff at an auction.
That's
And
nice.
it's not I think last year they raised over $30 million in one weekend. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that kind of money?
That's nice. I mean, that's nice. Your festivals, they raise money for charity. That's great. Ours,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's one of
they raise money for people, local businesses to survive the winter, I think. I guess that's charity.
I guess so. Well, thanks for spending a few minutes with us this morning. I guess you're off to the West Coast for a visit.
Well, for a funeral, my aunt.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. But so I'm going. I heard you talking about your weather. Our weather. This is like the primo time to be here. During the day, it gets up to 80, but like last night, it got down to 60, which sounds cold, but it's nice. You can have the windows open.
Yep.
It's great sleeping, but then it warms right up during the day. It's just lovely. But I'm going out to California where it's, 100,
900
104.
degrees.
I know.
But
It's
as
gonna-
we used to say when I lived in California, it's a dry heat.
I was just gonna say, yep, they don't. They don't have the humidity where we've had it 80 and like an 70 and 80% this summer, 70, 80% humidity. You're just dying, you know?
Well, we know about humidity. It's usually around 80
Oh,
to
that's right.
90% here. We're surrounded by salt water. You know, we have the Gulf of Mexico on our side and then the Atlantic on the other side, and the Caribbean. So we get our share of tropical moisture. Whereabouts in California are you going?
Well, I'm going to stay with my cousin in Santa Clarita, which is just north of LA.
Yep, it's in Los Angeles County. I know right where it is. It's up near the Antelope Valley on the 14 freeway.
Yeah. Yeah, Valencia, but right by Magic Mountain.
I was going to say Magic
from our
Mountain
house.
is in Santa Clarita.
Yep, Valencia.
Well, the thing about living in California is it's semi-arid desert out there. Even when you're in Los Angeles and you see all the greenery, that greenery would not exist without a lot of irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
So while it gets hot, it's a little more tolerable because your relative humidity is around 30 or 40%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really low. It's nice.
Yeah.
I lived my first 6 years in California. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, then you knew
Born there.
You knew what I just said.
Yeah. So I mean, it sort of feels like home.
Well,
I have a lot of family there.
My next guest coming up in a few minutes, Jim Watkins, spends a little time in Santa Barbara from time to time. He lives in Cape Coral, Florida, just up the road from where we are here in Naples. And he is a longtime radio guy. But he knows all about California. We'll maybe chat with him about that in a few minutes. Okay. Well, listen, safe travels, Kathy.
All right.
And be careful out there. Don't let the bad behavior that you're hearing about on airplanes get the best of you.
I do a lot of travel.
If you see some guy trying to open a cabin door, maybe grab him.
Nah, I'm not scared.
No,
at least I'm traveling domestically. I almost always go out of the country when I go somewhere. So
true enough. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll check in with you again next week.
All right. Sounds good.
North on I-75, my good friend Kathy Dugan on the Dave Elliott Show, and we'll be right back with Jim Watkins after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
And a minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. You know, it's sizzling summer out there. You can tell just by looking at the steam on the windows in the morning. But Alice Sweetwaters has summer sizzling lunch specials just for you every day from 11 to 4. Mondays, the Smash Burger Beach Break for $12. Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday for $12. Wednesday, the Dockside Duo, which is my favorite. 3 chicken fingers, 3 fried shrimp served with golden fries, $12. And Thursday, the classic French dip. You'll love it. Don't forget Fridays, the local catch lunch. And don't forget Alice Sweetwaters for dinner and snacks and everything in between. It's Alice Sweetwaters, my favorite place to eat, and yours too, I'm sure, at the corner of Glades Boulevard and Airport Road, diagonally across from the East Naples Home Depot. Alice Sweetwaters, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. All vote-by-mail ballot requests from previous years have expired, and voters who wish to vote by mail in 2026 must renew their request. The deadline to request a ballot for this upcoming election is 5 p.m. on August 6th. Please visit colliervotes.gov or call 239-252-8683, 239-252-8683 to request your ballot today.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control.
Yikes!
So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When Dave talks, his lips actually move. Dave Elliott.
Good morning. It's a Wednesday morning here at about 2.5 minutes past 8 o'clock. I want to thank you for spending a little time with us this morning. I don't know if you are aware of it, but there is a fraternity of people out there. A lot of them are former radio broadcasters who are now in the podcasting business. I'm one of them. I'm a recent podcast member, but one of the guys who's been doing it for a long time is my pal, my buddy, in a way, my mentor, Jim Watkins from Jim Watkins International Enterprises, high atop the Jim Watkins building in mid-Cape Coral, Florida. Hey, Jim. Good morning.
Hey, man. You know, it's so funny. I'm humbled by that because I always looked at you as being my mentor. So
oh no,
I had no idea. I always thought I was a nuisance.
Well, you know, you may not know this, but you were the first person who hired me as a talk host. I was hired when I first went to work for you at the old Wink WNOG. I was a talk show host on a little AM station out of Marco Island, and I was just doing it as kind of like more like a hobby. I mean, it didn't pay anything. And somehow I was asked to come in and fill in for the guy who had been there in the mornings, and you were the program director. And I learned about talk radio from you, and one of the things I learned is that sometimes my politics didn't mesh with the politics of the listeners. But then I learned to moderate my views, and now in the venue I'm at now, I don't really talk a lot of politics. If I do, I talk about it from 30,000 feet. I'm not really interested in espousing a particular political point of view or trying to persuade you to vote for my favorite person. But you taught me about making it short and snappy and entertaining.
Well, thanks. You know, it's a funny story, really, because there was another guy that was also around that time, probably after you started, down in Naples. And he also had a background similar to yours. He just did music radio. But I thought he was a very talented guy. And I won't mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. But he freaked out. He did this show. He did afternoons on the same station for about 2 or 3 weeks. And he quit because he said, I'm not used to being this honest and telling people how I really think. And it was too much for him. That I guess that would be I've never had a problem. Somebody sticks a microphone in my mouth, I can't shut up.
I know. I know.
And it's just instinctive. I don't even think about it. So but you were always good because, well, you and I thought did really well together because of the
did.
fact we don't see eye to eye and everything.
Yeah, but
And that makes
there's
it
a way to
interesting.
do that without beating the other
Insulting
person
each
up.
other? Yeah. Oh.
I'm getting a little
Yeah.
I'm getting a little warbling here right now. I'm going to try to fix it. Oh,
Okay.
I have to push a button here. Let me see if this helps any. We'll try it and see.
All right.
I think
Here we go.
that sounds a little better.
A
All
little
right.
on-air
Nobody will know
transparency.
but me, but I know anyway. Hey, I want to. Did you have something you wanted to get into this morning? Because I'm raring to go. I got stuff.
Well, let's go. Let's you lead, I'll follow. How's
I have
that?
two things I want to talk about. I do want to talk about political ads, but I don't want to talk about the politics behind them. I just want to talk about a thing I've noticed about political ads that is driving me absolutely bat crap crazy. But first, you might be interested to know that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has asked private contractors as of last Friday for at least 5,500 new detention beds across 4 regions of the country. And guess where one of those 4 regions is? Miami. Didn't we just close Alligator Alcatraz? Or did I miss something somewhere?
It's that was a foiled experiment, wasn't it?
It looks like it from what I could tell, it's back to its old airport look, just runways and grass.
Yeah.
So where are they going to put a Miami detention facility? They're looking at someplace that'll hold 700 people near Miami, 1,500 near Seattle, 1,500 near Denver, and 1,800 in Pennsylvania, which is the largest allocation of the 4 areas. I can understand Miami because of the Cuban, people trying to set foot on ground under wet foot, dry foot. The Miami Detention Center will be within 50 driving miles of the field office in Plantation. If you know where Plantation is, over by
Sure do,
Miami.
yeah. Beautiful city.
The Seattle facility must be within 30 driving miles of the field office in Tukwila, Washington. And for the Philadelphia field office, it has to be located near the airport in State College, home of Penn State University.
Pennsylvania.
So it says in this article from projectsaltbox.com that these requirements of where they have to be align precisely with 4 detention facilities currently operated by the GEO Group that ICE already relies on, the Aurora Ice Processing Center in Colorado, the Broward.
I want to. It's funny that you mentioned the GEO Group because not long ago, around 2015 or so, I was working freelance with a business in Boca Raton, and nice little business office there that happens to be the headquarters of GEO. And they had a break room downstairs, for lunch and everything. So I'd go down during lunch, and all these people would. I had no idea that's what they did, which was manage prisons. And in retrospect, thinking back, I don't think I ever saw a more depressed group of people in my life.
Well, can you imagine? Working at a prison would not be the most fulfilling job you've ever had.
Oh, man.
Although I worked at some radio stations that were like prisons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have any. Look, I grew up in South Los Angeles, so my experience, my worldview is a little bit different from others. And
how so?
I don't know if you ever saw the Cheech and Chong movie, Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke. Oh, who hasn't seen it?
Right. That was like 1974, 1975, and at that point, it was everybody knew that there were people coming in from the border, trying to get away from Mexico, trying to have a good life here. 99% of these people I know, because my stepfather was Mexican. He was from Mexico. And so, but the rule of thumb was when La Migra showed up, it's a roll of the dice. If they catch you and they ship you back, that's the rules, and nobody thought too much about human rights and all this that came along much later. And it was so common, Dave, that even in the movie Up in Smoke, they made fun of the fact that people would use this process if they had to go to a wedding in Mexico. So the premise of the joke was, if you need a free ride to Mexico, just wait for La Migra to show up, and they'll take you back. And that's how common it was. And now it's all about, just look. The fact is that I don't like the fact that we have to be put in this position. But there were a lot of bad people that came through, and that's why we saw such a surge with fentanyl and some of there are bad actors, and it doesn't do anybody any good to ignore that element, especially when it happens to you and you lose a loved one or someone is assaulted or whatever. I mean, there are some bad actors out there. So my sympathy level for these ICE detention centers is a little lower, or
Yeah.
I'm actually a lot higher than maybe the average person. So
well, it's almost like it's almost like the old expression, that's why we can't have nice things. Because of the bad actors, the rest of the people.
We live in an area that's not as bad as Miami, but I would imagine there are parts of Miami and elsewhere that you wouldn't go. And not that it's all immigration, but there is an element of that. Let's face it, drugs, the drug trade is very lucrative, and it attracts a lot of people who have nothing else to lose. So we have to deal with that element in our society. We do have a drug problem, and we have people that have decided for whatever reason to go into that field and try to get rid of these people.
The reason here's the deal with the drug problem. The drug problem isn't the influx of drugs into the country. It's the people that want them.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was no market for it, it wouldn't exist.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that I always say the only difference between the cartels and the big pharma is that big pharma wear white coats. That's the only difference.
Pretty much.
They flooded the country with opioids. Everybody looked the other way. It created a huge problem with dependency that we're still living with today. And this is part and parcel. And listen, it also bleeds over into mental health, because a lot of these people, they've got a lot of problems, and they go to the doctors, and the first thing they do is hand them prescription drugs.
Yeah.
And until we start looking at other ways to treat people who have serious emotional and mental illness, we're going to have a drug addiction problem in this country long into the future.
And it is not the panacea that, pharmaceuticals are not the panacea they're made out to be.
That's right. That's right. And it's very profitable. Listen, I've been on the inside. I see, people that have been addicted to drugs put themselves in the drug trade, and some of the horror stories. I was just reading today about Haiti. There's a congressman who just came back from Haiti, and it's kind of a different topic, but it just shows you how bad some of these societies really are. I won't mention the headline, but it was pretty gruesome. And man, I'm telling you, hell on earth for these people. Hell on earth in some of these countries. Oof.
My next door neighbor is a doctor, and he and his wife, who's a nurse, went to Haiti after the big earthquake a number of years ago. And what they saw there, I mean, they were literally in fear for their lives while they were there doing, medical, basically medical missionary work is what they were doing. And
is it true they got the voodoo thing going on over there?
Oh, the whole voodoo, not just voodoo, but they're just gang murders of, the government is as corrupt as can be. It's a bad situation in Haiti. I wanted to talk about political ads for a minute. Do you watch TV at all? Regular broadcast TV?
My wife and I watch them every night, and we can't stand them.
First of all,
they're so ridiculous.
Every single ad has more pictures of President Trump in it than they do of the people who are running for office. That's number one. They're all saying exactly the same thing. I'm the biggest supporter of blah, blah, blah. I did this, I did that. I want to see all the bad people go away. I want to reduce the price of gas, even though we don't have an affordability problem in this country. I wanted this and I wanted that. And honestly, those statements that I just made have been and could have been said by every one of the candidates running for every office, even if it's completely irrelevant to what their office is. I am so flabbergasted that no candidate is willing to stake a claim of their own for why they should run for office. Are they all trying to, and I don't mean this as a political statement, I'm saying it because this is what I observed. Are they all trying to out-Trump each other? And who is the real recipient of the message? I don't think it's the voter. Do you?
I do think it's exactly that. Lee County is really red, and they know that they're speaking to the faithful,
Yeah,
and there's a
preaching
lot
to
of
the
Trump
choir.
support here. May
Yeah,
not be that
of
way in
course there
Collier.
is.
You tell me how Collier demographically, because I'm confused. Someone told me that it's very conservative in Collier,
It is.
Naples, but there's an undercurrent of that liberal, sort of liberal. It's more of a New York liberal kind of an attitude.
I
'cause
don't
I'm sure
see that here.
No?
I see this as a super ultra conservative area. When you look at the voter registrations, it's about half of the voters are Republican and the other half are made up of NPA and Democrats. So without the
because
NPA,
it's not like
without
Sarasota. You can smell the liberalism when you get off the freeway in Sarasota. It's in the air. But no, when I get the feeling, and clearly you can some of these people that drive around in their trucks, you can clearly see this is red country.
Oh yeah, no,
But,
I mean there's no question about it. It's one of the most conservative counties in the state, if not the most conservative county, and that's just fine.
But that's why they do it. I mean, that's why they figure if they jump on the Trump bandwagon, they're going to get his votes. And maybe that's true. I don't even, there's a couple of people that's like, I don't know if they say that they get Trump support or they support Trump, but you can tell they're Democrats. I mean, I think so. I don't
You
know.
can? I don't know.
Byron's out. You think he's going to win? There's a lot of interesting people.
Well, he's got
running
$50 million.
Oof.
Who's
Really?
who's the Democrat? Do you know who the Democrat nominee is
I have
likely
no
to
idea.
be?
Is it Charlie Crist? Is he
No,
doing- is he
no.
trying to-
That's a good example. I think it's going to be a guy named David Jolly, who is from Tampa Bay, Tampa St. Pete. Used to be a Republican.
I remember him. Yeah.
He dropped out of the
You know-
Republican Party and became a Democrat. But
You know,
he doesn't have nearly the war chest that Byron Donalds has.
No, and his name isn't quite as familiar. I think I mentioned this last week, but my son is who follows a lot of this stuff, tells me that Byron, if you watch his commercials, he's talking a lot about data centers and AI.
Yep.
But if you listen to his language, it's almost as if he's saying, there's not going to be any data AI centers unless I make the choice. And that to me is a non-starter.
I didn't
Because
pick
people
up
from
on that.
Florida don't want
I didn't infer that from what he said, but he
Yeah,
did
but
say
listen
that there
carefully.
will be no taxpayer dollars will be used
Yes,
to build
that's
data
right.
centers, and maybe that's where you're inferring that he's saying,
because he could get federal dollars,
or
he could
private
state
dollars from the
grant.
data centers. But
That's
the
right,
fact
they pay
is,
for it.
if you got a data, there's one being built in DeSoto County, and
Well, there's nothing in DeSoto County except for Arcadia.
well, that's why they want the data center, because it will be a huge boost to the tax base there.
How about right next to Lake Okeechobee? They got plenty of water over there.
They do, and it's loaded with all kinds of bad stuff, like alligators.
Oh.
I mean, how would you like it if one of those big pipes sucked an alligator into the cooling system of the data center? Wow, there's a new one, Claude. Didn't see that one coming.
Because I have become a real fan of Marco Rubio. I remember when he was our state legislator, and he's got this speech. He's got a couple speeches that have gone fairly viral. he is a great speaker. I mean, he's much more of a eloquent, convicted speaker than I remember him to be when he first became senator. And everybody's talking about J.D. Vance, being the heir apparent to Trump. I don't think so. I'm not sold on Vance. I don't think he's a clincher. And I actually think that what could happen, this is my thought, and I don't know how you feel about either of these guys, but if Vance should be the next Secretary of State and make Rubio the president, and then give Vance that Secretary of State so that after Rubio serves 2 terms, then Vance will be even much more prepared as a, foreign affairs expert and all these things. Because I don't think Vance would make a good president. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think he lacks the experience to do it. Of course, a lot of people do. What do you think about that scenario?
That's an interesting concept. I do like Marco Rubio. I've interviewed him a couple of times in long form. I mean, I did 1 hour-long interview when he was running for the state, whatever it was, state house or state senate. I did another one when he was running for U.S. Senate with him, and he is bright. He is articulate, as you pointed out. He is a fast learner. One of the things that I don't like about him is that he happens to be close friends with David Rivera, the guy who was a U.S., who was a congressman, I think he was a congressman, and got into all kinds of money trouble and is in jail right now in Miami. They were pretty close, those two. They owned a house together in Tallahassee, as a matter of fact.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And so you have to judge people by the company they keep. But other than that, I think Rubio has a very bright future ahead of him in national politics. And I think that Mr. Trump is leaning toward Marco as his probable successor as well. Little Marco. Remember when he called him Little Marco?
I sure do.
The times they are a-changing.
Yeah, I got all those old tapes too. That whole campaign, I have all the sound bites. One day I'm thinking of maybe playing them, but yeah, it's funny to listen back.
There are some very bright young minds out there, and there are some very stupid young and old minds out there too. And the bright ones are the ones that I'm interested in. They're going to be the next generation. They're going to be the ones that are going to lead this country either into world leadership in terms of ethics and business and maybe even stewards of the climate, and not the old guard. The old guard, when I see a guy who is 78 years old running for Congress, who is actually not even from this area, he's from New York, I'm thinking to myself, why would a guy move here from New York at 78 and then decide to run for Congress? There's only one reason I can think of: money. Not too many people who run for office wind up leaving poorer than when they came in. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because it didn't work that way for me with my career choice.
Yeah, you did really well for yourself.
I mean, not
and
like
me
Nancy
too. Look at me
Pelosi.
raking in the box. It's coming in so fast, I have to have a dump truck drop it off in the mailbox.
Yeah. Well, who is this guy you speak of that came down from New York and is
Chris
trying to worm
Collins.
his way into who? Chris Collins?
Chris Collins.
Yeah,
He's the one
I've
that
seen
calls himself the original supporter of the president. And if you look him up, I think he was
Well,
also.
didn't Hillary Clinton do that very thing? She moved somewhere and so
Yeah.
that she could
Oh,
represent.
yeah.
I mean,
And
that's what they do.
you got another guy who's here from Illinois, and he's running for Congress
Yeah.
too.
Look, you know what? It's musical chairs. The 500, is it still 535 members of Congress?
535, yeah, 535 counting the Puerto Rican delegate, I believe.
Oh yeah. So the thing is, those seats are like musical chairs. There's only so many seats, and they're powerful positions. And it's the same with the Senate, even better because there's only 100 seats. So, that's where the real power is in the country, is those two bodies. I know a lot of people think that the president is more powerful, but really it's our legislative branches, the ones that make the laws. And so, the power is just, it must be just really, I mean, what is it? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you can't, and when he's 78 years old, he's probably got all the money he wants. He's bored, and he wants now to go hang out with buddies in DC. And, who's running? Oh, Jim Schwartzel is running. There's another guy. Nothing against Jim. I like him. He's a nice guy. We work together on some interesting things, but what? He's got everything he needs. What's he going to do in Washington?
Well,
I mean,
in a case like that where you're already wealthy, I think it's about power. And I'm not sure what power actually brings you. You can't take it with you. When your heart stops beating, it does. You can have all the power in the world. It doesn't matter. And I'm not sure exactly what it is that people who are already wealthy get out of it, except the ability to be in control, be in charge. I mean, what else could it be? Could it really be as altruistic as we're trying to do something to improve life for our constituents? Because I don't think that's the case. When was the last time a government entity did anything for you?
You got me. I've raised my hand. I'm not a big fan. What the government giveth, the government taketh. I think about Rick Scott. Rick is an interesting guy. I thought he was a really, listen, I know people will disagree with me, but I thought he ran things pretty well. I thought Jeb Bush ran things pretty well.
I was a big Jeb Bush fan.
Yeah, we've had some great leadership in our, even Bill over there at NASA. Who was the guy?
Bill Nelson.
Yeah, Bill Nelson. He was all right. He wasn't, I didn't see these guys walking out with,
boatloads
loads of cash. Nancy's, what's she worth? 30 million. Ilhan Omar is worth, millions of dollars.
Well, again, I don't want to get into who I like and I don't like, but I will say this about Jeb Bush. When I was working with you and the Hurricane Charlie came down the pike, we had Governor Bush on our show almost every single morning for the week leading up to that hurricane, encouraging people to be prepared and to be ready for what was to come. And he is the last governor that I know of who attempted to be in communication with the people directly. He was completely in the sunshine, and he did the right thing. And I will always respect him for that, always.
Yeah, we got lucky. We could have got, the other Bush.
W, you mean? Oh, you mean which Bush are you talking about?
The Houston guy, our president, our 43rd president. W.
I had a funny thing happen to me one time. I was at an event, and it was for, I believe it was for the Barbara Bush reading thing that they do. And
Yeah.
W and Jeb were both there. And this was before Marco Rubio was somebody. So they were taking questions from the audience, and you had to write them on a card. So I wrote down, tell me what you think about Marco Rubio running for whatever it was he was running for at the time. And believe it or not, they chose my card, and they gave it to W, and he read it, and he said, who the hell is Marco Rubio? Brought the place to their feet. I don't think at that time, now people are saying we like Marco.
Yeah, Marco Rubio.
He's probably the brightest light in the state of Florida right now, I would say, or
Yeah.
representing
Yeah.
the state of Florida.
That's what leadership looks like.
Yep.
Can I just ask you what you're thinking about this property tax thing? Because somebody made a good point, and I know this is a major, major, major issue. But is it fair, do you think, Dave, that, and I don't like to use the word fair, but in this case, is it fair for a person who has paid a mortgage for 40 years of their life and they still have to dole out just because their zip code, another $10,000 a month, $12,000 a month? Do you think that's fair that a person who pays off their house should still be stuck with such a huge bill?
I don't
in
think
perpetuity.
I don't think it's fair, but I will tell you this about the proposed property tax amendment that's going to be on the ballot. I'm opposed to it because all it's going to do is shift the money source to some other place. You're still going to pay government never gets smaller, right? It always gets bigger every year. You know, this year the budget for the state of Florida was $116 billion. When Rick Scott was governor, it was like $67 billion. That's a pretty dramatic increase in a matter of 8 years. But the money's got to come from someplace. So if it doesn't come from property taxes, they'll increase your sales tax, or they'll put user fees on, or you'll pay more at the gas pump. They're going to get the money from you one way or the other. Why not at least make it transparent where you get one bill every year and it shows you what the money goes for? I'm not opposed to it because I don't want us to pay less in taxes, but we're not going to pay less overall when all is said and done. There's just no way we can.
Well, I agree, and I like your aspect, and I'll add this one further. There are a lot of ways to skin a cat, and, I know a lot of people now are, because they live in Florida, maybe half the year, and they're VRBOing their houses. So in that sense, if you are a member, say you live in Cape Coral, and you actually rent out your house, and you're making money off that transaction, to me, you're doing business in the county, and they should get their cut. And I think if we shifted, like you say, from expecting the homeowners who are permanent residents, and I'm not saying we shouldn't pay any property tax. I'm just saying it shouldn't be rated based on your zip code and what your neighbor sold his house for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what the tax rate is based on.
Well,
sometimes.
what they're proposing, of course, is to increase the property tax exemption on homes. So right now where it's $50,000, it comes right off the value of your home. Plus, you can't have an increase of more than 3% a year under Save Our Homes of your property tax, unless you sell the house. And then when you sell the house, the baseline for that property tax moves up to whatever the sale price was. So if you bought it for $300,000 20 years ago, and it's now worth $900,000, you're still paying taxes based on the 3% increase per year over what you paid for it 20 years ago. But when you sell it, now that number becomes $900,000, and you get your exemptions from that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that seems fair because, again,
It
there's
does.
a transaction going on. Look, the government always has its hands out. It wants its cut. It's no different from the mafia. And so, yeah, but that to me is fair as opposed to a fluctuating. I mean, my escrow is killing me. I mean, I'm paying on my property taxes and I can't pay down my debt.
Now, here in Collier, to give you an example, my property tax, I think it's either stayed the same or went down a little bit this year. So that's good news. The thing that's killing me is homeowners insurance.
There's another thorn on my side.
Another racket. We can talk about that next week because that's a whole hour-long conversation. But I agree that that probably the current property tax system is not fair. I think fair is the word to use there, despite what you said earlier. And I think that if they could come up with a more transparent method for taking care of whatever the shortfall is going to be, I'd be okay with the proposal. The proposal, I think, is to increase for the $50,000 exemption to $150,000, and then, or maybe $100,000, and then go eventually to $250,000. So there would be some people who would never pay property tax.
Yeah, well, we don't want any freeloaders, so
Well, no. So to solve that problem, we'll just make sure that all the property values are above $250,000.
And maybe one day they will be.
Well, you never know.
Things are going.
You never know.
Good luck.
Hey, I want to give you a chance to tell people about your podcast.
Okay, well, it's Q&A with Jim Watkins. It's a great podcast. I usually take a topic from the day and I pose it in the form of a question. will the Iraqi war end or the Ukrainian war end? And then I give an answer or something like that. And they're designed to be short, bite size, so you can do it on your 10-minute walk or whatever. Anyway, it's on Spotify and your favorite podcast platform. Q&A with Jim Watkins. Check your local listings.
Well, here's a question. Can you come back next week?
If you would like me to, I'd love to tackle the WNBA again. It's kind of my favorite.
Well, we can talk about the WNBA, and if you want to weigh in on any of that, you can go to our text line at 305-699-2665. That's 305-699-COOL, and that's pretty cool too. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, I like that. All right, man. Talk to you next week.
Have a great day. Jim Watkins from the beautiful Mecca of Cape Coral, Florida, certainly the media capital of Southwest Florida, to be sure. We'll be back with a look at your favorite game, The Impossible Question, right after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about your hearing, and especially if you are experiencing hearing problems or you've noticed recently that your hearing just isn't as acute as it used to be. Well, the folks at Naples Audiology and Hearing Center can take care of that for you. My friend, audiologist and owner Christine Peacock, and her entire staff are dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And no, it's not the freshly baked chocolate chip cookies you'll find every day when you walk in, but it's your hearing. If you wear cochlear implants, they can help you with that. If you wear hearing aids, they can help you tune them up or get them repaired if they're under warranty, or if you need to be replacing them, they can help you with that too. At Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, they are the experts. They've been around a long time, and it's not this one-size-fits-all thing with them because everybody's hearing concerns are unique. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com, or call them at 239-434-2434 and tell them you heard about it on the Dave Elliott Show.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
He's reached that age where his brain goes, you probably shouldn't say that, to, I can't wait to see where this goes. Dave Elliott.
Thank you very much, Mike. And that's my good friend Mike Gatlin, who is also a Southwest Floridian and a longtime DJ back in the 60s. And I'm so grateful he was able to help out in announcing the show here. Springing ahead at the time of daylight saving time in the spring annually robs people of an hour of sleep. While daylight saving time is something you can prepare for, researchers from the University of Michigan say your DNA plays a big role in how changing the clock affects you. The study found moving the clocks ahead each spring massively and negatively impacts night owls more than any others. Now, I used to be a late night guy. Of course, I have to go to bed early now because I get up so early in the morning. Study authors discovered that genetic profiles which make people more likely to be early birds, adjusting to springing ahead in just a few days. Night owls, on the other hand, appear to need more than a week to reset their sleep schedules. I'm past that. I can adjust pretty easily, I think. By the way, what is going on with permanent daylight saving time? Well, on July 14th, the House voted 308 to 117 to make daylight saving time permanent. However, its fate now rests with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who's got a few other items on his plate, who has not yet scheduled a Senate floor vote. Key supporters are pushing for quick action before the fall, but growing debate over dark winter mornings and sleep health could slow things down a little bit. Opponents and sleep health groups lobbying them are arguing that permanent standard time is safer and better for circadian health than permanent daylight saving time, and I happen to be in agreement on that. Until the Senate passes the legislation and sends it to the president, current biannual clock changes will continue as scheduled. Just when we thought we were making progress and the president had said he would sign the bill, comes word that it looks like there's a bump in the road. Maybe they'll agree on standard time, which would be fine with me. It does mean that it'll get darker a little earlier in the summertime than it does now, but only clock time. You'll still have the exact same amount of daylight hours and nighttime hours that you normally have. This misconception that we are somehow gaining an hour of sunlight in the summertime is simply lazy speech. It's not true. We're not gaining anything. You know what I'm saying? We're not gaining anything. All right. It's 8:43.
The impossible question on the Dave Elliott Show.
Let's have some fun today. There are a lot of questions I could ask you, but I picked one out here that I think will be good. And if you want to weigh in, you can text us at 305-699-2665. What I would advise you to do if you want to be the first one to win, and you can win, except for Sally and Frank, everybody's eligible to win today. All you have to do is text us at 305-699-2665. Go ahead and put that phone number in your texting app, and then get ready to just hit the send button with your first name and the answer to the question, and the first one with the correct answer wins. Here's today's impossible question. There are over 50,000 of these businesses in America, but only about 10,000 in the rest of the world. What are they? 50,000 of these businesses in America, but only about 10,000 of them in the rest of the world. What are they? 305-699-2665. This is the only, as far as I know, this is the only interactive live quiz show on YouTube right now, and you can be part of that by texting me your answer. I will tell you that of the 50,000 in America, it seems to me that most of them are in Southwest Florida. So give me a text right now, and I'll announce you as the smartest person in town. And oh, yes, you will win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. $25 worth of great dining at one of Naples' fabulous restaurants, Alice Sweetwater's, Airport Road and Glades Boulevard, diagonally across from East Naples Home Depot. There are over 50,000 of these businesses in America, but only about 10,000 in the rest of the world. What are they? Rosie texts and says, nail salon. Nope, not nail salon, although I will say, Rosie, I've seen a lot of nail salons around this town, a lot of them. Marco says, tanning salons. I'll give you a hint. It's not tanning or nail or any other kind of salon. Somebody else, I think it's Peggy, says Dunkin' Donuts. Nope, it's not Dunkin' Donuts. It's not food, and it's not any kind of a health salon. It's something else. Pawn shops, says somebody who forgot to text me his first name. No, that's not it either. Oh, it's Tom. There it is. I didn't see it, Tom, on the original message. Sorry. Tom followed the rules precisely. 305-699-2665. And wouldn't you know, leave it to my wife to come up with the right answer. I'll tell you what it is when we get an answer from somebody else. It is not car dealerships. Peggy tried again there. Not car dealerships. Something else. There are bunches of them all over the place. When you drive down the East Trail especially, you'll see these things everywhere. Rosie is the winner. Rosie wins. She knows the answer is storage facilities. Storage units, storage facilities. Rosie, you are the smartest person in town today. Congratulations. I have a $25 gift certificate coming to you from Alice Sweetwater's on Airport Road at Glades Boulevard, diagonally across from the East Naples Home Depot. And I'm so excited for you to have won today. Of course, you have to be from this area in order to win, because it would be kind of hard to commute from, say, Wisconsin to Naples to collect your prize. Rosie, the big winner this morning on the impossible question. There you go, Rosie. There's your winner's bell for you. All right. In other news that you may or may not need to know this morning, 40% of people out there keep secrets from their spouses. Shh. Are you one of those people? Well, about 40% of married Americans admit keeping a secret from their spouses, but most have nothing to do with an affair or a fantasy. The most common secret is how much they spend. That's the secret. 48% said they had not told their spouses about the real price of something they bought. Oh, yeah, it was like 40, but the percentage was equal for men and women, by the way. About 15% are quiet about a failure at work or a child's behavior. 14% of people in relationships kept quiet about being attracted to another person. Well, you can see why that would be. 27% of both men and women admitted that at least once during their marriage, they wished they could wake up and not be married anymore. Wow. Some people kept secrets not out of guilt, but to avoid hurt feelings. One woman said her husband told her for years that her Cocker Spaniel had been stolen to spare her the knowledge that it had been killed by a car. The survey also found that 20% of marrieds have dreams or aspirations they haven't mentioned to a spouse, ranging from living somewhere else, 50% of them, to getting a dog, only 8%. So think about that the next time you have a dream that you aspire to something, or you have a secret spending spree that you've gone on you don't want to tell anybody. Happy birthdays today to filmmaker and documentarian Ken Burns. Does he still have bangs, I wonder? Tim Gunn, Project Runway guy, also 73 today, as is Patty Scialta, member of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, 73. Isn't she married to Bruce Springsteen? Alexandra Paul from Baywatch, 63. Will Wheaton, those of us who are Trekkers know all about Will Wheaton. He is 54 years old today. Stephen Dorff, the actor from Blade and True Detective, is 53 as well. 53. Then in decreasing order, or descending order, Josh Radnor from How I Met Your Mother is 52. Fernando Alonso, a Formula One driver, is 45. Allison Mack, 44. Ashley McBride, the country singer, is 43. NFL quarterback for the, does he still play for the Cowboys? Dak Prescott, 35. And Gianna Harner, who is a social media personality and TikTok influencer, I'm sure you know who she is 20 years old. And by the way, happy Cheese Sacrifice Purchase Day to you today, as well as Chicken Wing Day, Lasagna Day, and maybe most important of all, Lipstick Day. That's going to do it for today. I want to thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with our good friend Bob Zaney, who's always good for a few laughs, and a special mystery guest. I hope you'll join us for that as well. You can find us by going to daveontheair.com. Click the Listen Live link. We're available on YouTube, but the best way to find the link is to go to daveontheair.com. Drag that link off to your desktop or your phone's home screen, and then you just click it once, and there we are. We're also available on demand. Today's show will be ready in just a few minutes, and all of our previous shows are up on YouTube as well. Have a great Wednesday. See you back here on Thursday on The Dave Elliott Show.